Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Reverend Emily Gage. My pronouns are she, her. I'm one of the ministers here at Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are here this afternoon to celebrate the life and mourn the loss of Thomas Herbert Hall, known to most of us as Tom. Tom died last Sunday at the age of 92, having lived a long and very full life. Tom was so many things to so many different people: a son, a brother, a husband, a dad, a grandfather, a teacher, a fellow athlete, a fellow congregant, and a friend. That's friend with a capital F. I know that it was true within these doors that if you thought you were a stranger to Tom, he thought you were only a friend he had not yet met. I have no doubt that he was like that wherever he was in the world. Tom had a serious stroke the day before he died, but it was some months ago when he had a heart attack. That event somehow turned into an opportunity for Tom to revel in the company of those whom he loved most, to be present to those he loved, to live life to the fullest until his very last moments. He died as he was born in an infinite circle of love. The words of Hunter S. Thompson popped into my mind. Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride!" That way of living fully and broadly and full of humor was Tom's way. And I can totally hear Tom saying exactly that. Wow, what a ride. This afternoon, we celebrate the gift of having been part of that ride along with Tom. Alfred and Zachary, Tom's grandkids, are going to light our chalice for us this afternoon. I invite you to join me in the words of our chalice lighting. We light our chalice in gratitude for the gifts of life, memories, stories, and love. Tom's favorite hymn was one of my favorite hymns, I was happy to find out, and we're going to be singing it today in his honor. In a way, it reminds me of Tom because it feels like him cheering us on, reminding us of our own faith, hope, love, and joy. I invite you to rise and body your spirit and join in singing 368. It's towards the back of the gray hymn books that you'll find near you. And there's two parts. There's a lower part and a higher part, but what is important is you sing loudly and with enthusiasm. Please rise and body your spirit. Now let us sing, 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 sing. Now let us sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice, be not afraid. Sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing, sing to the power of the Tom would approve. Please join with me in the words of the covenant that are printed in the order of the service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Thomas Herbert Hall was born on November 29, 1930 at West Suburban Hospital in Oak Park to Edred Byron Hall, Jr. and Dorothy Irene Darnell Hall. He had narrowly escaped being Edred Byron III. Thanks to his mother, he was Tom instead. He had an older sister, Sue, and he must have been, as Sonny said, an adored baby. Of course he must have been, as he came to adore so many around him. Tom grew up in various different houses around and near Oak Park. He went to Whittier School and then Oak Park River Forest High School. He was an athlete from the very beginning, though there were no organized sports for younger kids back in the day. At the Medina Country Club, where his Hall relatives were members, he learned to swim, dive, golf, and play tennis. Both his parents were excellent golfers. When he got to high school, he played football, a running back on offense, and a cornerback on defense. I don't really understand how. He sprinted and dove in the pool. He high jumped, broad jumped, and was a leg in the 400-meter relay. In college, at the University of Illinois in Champaign, he also swam and dabbled in gymnastics, a sport that was new to him. Tom had gone to U of I intending to, not surprisingly, major in phys ed, but ended up with a major in recreation and a minor in business. He had wanted to coach, and although that was not his major, he did end up coaching for many, many years throughout his life. Most of the sports I already mentioned, plus t-ball to young kids as an adult, and also he played handball. He learned after he returned from the war, and he and a diverse group of men who became good friends played handball. Tom got up early 5 days a week to play, and he did so for years and years and years. It was the handball group that helped move him and Sonny into their new shared home. It was the handball group that gave Tom a hard time for his paisley boxer shorts. And then when his daughter Lynn went out of her way to give him more and more outrageous boxer shorts, they harassed him about those too. Tom was drafted into the Army his last semester of college, serving in the Korean War and marrying his college girlfriend Juanita before he left. Though he avoided fighting on the front lines and served mostly as a chaplain's assistant, he saw his share of death and horror. He transported bodies of people he had known. He held hands of people as they died. The experience gave him nightmares and tears for years afterwards. He was proud to have served and wore a Korean War veteran hat for many years, and he was anti-war. One of the nurse practitioners who had recently been to the house to visit Tom was Korean, and when she found out he had served, they had a shared moment of gratitude. Tom and his wife Juanita separated after his return from Korea, and he met Lois, who was to become his wife in 1959, and they married in 1960. They had 2 daughters, Wendy Sue and Lynn Marie. I can only imagine how very much they were adored from the moment they arrived. Lois and Tom were married for 20 years. It happened that the same night that Tom met Lois, he also met Sonny. Sonny and Lois were friends, both living in the Frank Lloyd Wright home before it was a museum. You should really have that on the tour. In those days, if you were a young adult in Oak Park, you hung out with the First Presbyterian group to meet people and have fun. Over the years, both of these couples, Sonny and her husband, and Lois and Tom, and then their families, were friends. So they have all been in each other's lives for a long time. Lois and Tom divorced, and Sonny and Tom got together and moved in together in 1984, and it took 5 years for them to decide if it was the right thing, as Tom would say. Sonny did say to me, though, that the first thing that they bought in that new house was a really big dining room table, because they wanted everyone to gather there together. Tom's daughters, Wendy and Lynn, joined Sonny's 3 kids, Michael, Sean, Peter, Andrew, and Jill Elizabeth, in this big blended family. I can't think of a better metaphor for how Tom lived his life, a big, welcoming table with always room for more. Tom held a variety of jobs over his lifetime, my favorite from his own biography being a soda jerk and a bowling pin setter. Most of his professional life was in sales. He was, as you might imagine, pretty good at it. I would suggest, though, that he was prouder of the way that he contributed to the community on various boards and organizations that he served. There's a very long list. One of those things brought cul-de-sacs to many streets along Austin Boulevard. Another brought fireworks to Oak Park on the 4th of July. All right. Tom loved music, and he was often cranky with those who dared to speak during the prelude here at Unity Temple. If music was on, it wanted his full attention. He served on First United's organ committee, and he loved the work of listening to pipe organs all over the city. For years, here at Unity Temple, Tom was one of our membership people. He did committee work, of course, but he considered it a mission to welcome everyone who walked through the doors of this temple. He and Sonny joined here in 1995, making their mark in many different ways. Tom was a stalwart member of the Romeo's breakfast group, Romeo's standing for, as I understand it, really old men eating out. Of course, they've been doing it for years, and they weren't really old then, but he went to his last of these just last week. When I survey my mind's eye of Tom in Unity Temple, I can see him telling a joke to this group, teasing a kid, holding a baby, spotting someone he didn't know to go talk to, engaging a longtime friend, almost always with a twinkle in his eye. When asked to serve around here, he served. He didn't always talk about things, but he lived his faith through his actions. Lynn said she thought a lot about his ministry of presence. He somehow knew when someone needed a friend or support and just company, and he provided just that. It will not surprise anyone that his grandkids, Bremen and Anders and Charlie and Alfred and Zachary and Ben, when they came along, were adored beyond measure by this man who loved so deeply and joyfully. Sonny sent me along a document entitled simply Tom's Thoughts. One of them was this: the most wasted day is one without laughter and gratitude. Tom, thanks for making us laugh. We are grateful for this and so much more. Tom's daughter Lynn is going to sing Summertime, which is one of Tom's favorite songs.
Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these days, you're gonna wake up smiling. Spread your wings and take to the sky. Until the day we'll be right beside you. Mama and Daddy, standing by.
And Tom's daughter Wendy is going to share one of his favorite poems.
This is Sea Fever by John Masefield. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by. And the wheels kick, and the wind's song, and the white sails shaking, and a gray mist on the sea's face, and a gray dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again, for the call of the running tide is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying, and the flung spray and the blown spume and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gull's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like a whetted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and a quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick is over.
And we have a couple of stories from some of Tom's grandkids.
All right. So when I was in middle school and my brother was in elementary school, Grandma Sonny and Grandpa Tom used to come over in the early morning because both my parents were at work, and they would help us get out the door because we weren't very responsible on our own, being 11 and 7 as we were. And so one morning, probably running late as usual, woke up a bit late. Grandpa's rushing out the door. Forget my school ID at home, which I need to get it to school in. So I get to the bus. I think everything's fine as usual. I'm sitting there with my friends. And all of a sudden, I hear this much older voice come on the bus. He goes, "Someone forgot their ID at home." I was like, who forgot their ID? And I stand up, and to what was my horror then, I see Grandpa standing there smiling at the front of the bus holding my ID, and so he walks over and hands it to me. And as I guess you all know, there's no way Grandpa was getting off the bus without saying anything. That was never going to just be it. And so I think he's walking away. I'm like, all right, he's almost off. And then he turns around and he goes, everyone, on the count of 3, say goodbye, Grandpa. And so then he goes 1, 2, 3. And the whole bus in unison goes, goodbye, Grandpa. I was so embarrassed that day. I thought it was awful. I remember going to school that day too, and everyone was like, what did your grandpa do on your bus this morning? I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. But that's kind of just how I remembered him, was that. So thank you.
My story takes place when we were much younger, but when I was in like kindergarten or first grade, my Grandpa Tom used to pick me up for swim practice. And he started to bring me donuts for I don't think any reason at all. And then one day I asked for 2 donuts, and he said, why do you need 2 donuts? And I said, I need 1 for my brother. And as he would say, that tickled him. And then, so he started to bring 2 donuts before swim practice. I'd eat 1, keep the other, and then I'd bring it home. So then my parents found out about him bringing us donuts every day, because there was always one on the counter. And then, one day, this is how it was told to me, because I don't remember this, but somehow Grandpa Tom called me or somebody, and I ended up picking up the phone, and I just said, hey, Dad, it's Grandpa Donut. And that's how we ended up getting the name Grandpa Donut.
Can you guys hear me okay? I want to thank everybody for coming out. I know it means a lot to us, and something that I take to my own heart is you can kind of measure a worth of a man by how many people show up when his time's done, and this place is packed, so thank you. Right before coming out here, I had to give my mom a call, and I was like, Mom, my suit jacket doesn't fit anymore, you know? I didn't know what I was going to do, and she reminded me of a story how he used to help you put your jacket on, but he'd hold the sleeve shut. So you couldn't figure out why your arm wasn't going through. And, I think that was a good reminder for me that it's not that serious, and we can smile a little more and have a better time. And I think that'd be truer to what he wanted than any amount of sadness, So smile wide, hold somebody's jacket sleeve shut, take a bite out of their toast when they're not looking, and do it for him.
We gathered this afternoon with a mixture of emotions, with joy and sorrow, with sadness and gratitude. There's joy and laughter in the life that we shared with Tom, and there's sadness because there's always sadness when someone we love and cared for has died. We make meaning by marking death in a service like this. We take comfort in being together. In times like these, we need one another in empathy and consolation and courage and wisdom to share our stories and sadness and gratitude. In times like these, I always think of the words of Mary Oliver's poem in Blackwater Woods. To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends upon it, and when the time comes, to let it go, to let it go. Let us unite our hearts and minds in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, the spirit of Tom that filled our lives with love and delight has become one with your eternity. Grant us a sense of continuing compassion and meaning in which all is understood and made whole. May the love in our hearts join us together in richer ways than before, and in time lead us to the peace that passes understanding. Now may we pause in collective silence to reflect upon the life of Tom Hall, to offer our own prayer, and to give thanks for the way that Tom's life touched our own. Amen. Blessed be. Peter has another one of Tom's favorite songs to share with us.
Every time we say goodbye, I die a little. Every time we say goodbye, I wonder why a little. Why the gods above me, who must be in the know, think so little of me, they allow you to go. When you're near, there's such an air of spring about it. I can hear a lark somewhere begin to sing about it. There's no love song finer, but how strange the change from major to minor. Every time we say goodbye, every single time we say goodbye.
Tom's grandkid, Ben, is going to extinguish the chalice for us. And we say, carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Tom also shared these thoughts, and I share them with you to carry with you. We are all special. Always be the best you can be. When you have tears of joy or sadness in your eyes, pay attention. It's not what you say that makes a difference, it's what you do. And the most wasted days is the one without laughter and gratitude. Our hearts are filled with gratitude for the gift of Tom's life and his love. We know that your spirit and your memory and your love, Tom, will be with us both this day and all our days. The family invites you to come across the foyer into Unity House for a reception and puzzles and music and sharing of stories and food.